Hey guys, this is James here. I wanted just to create a quick video for you all. I know that you all are coming off of Urbana with a lot of hopefully refreshment and passion infusing you again about making disciples of our students on college campuses. And I'm very encouraged about what God's doing amongst us in InterVarsity. As we move into this season of recruiting for Winterfest and for Greek Conference, I wanted to make this quick video about the Invite To campaign. Over the last couple of months, I've been kind of doing some research, so to speak, with area directors, with staff, CSMs on campus to figure out what's the best way to improve the Invite To campaign to make it all it can be to benefit our students and to benefit you and your staff work. So this is seen as something that fits into what you're already doing instead of something extra to do. And so I wanted just to create this video and just kind of cast vision again about what the purpose of the Invite To campaign is, some of the temptations that we face in the Invite To campaign that can hinder momentum in it, and then give you some of the practical tools and ways to help you succeed throughout it. So I want you to imagine this with me. I know many of us have students that we have in our chapters that we long to see become all that Jesus called us to be people of great love and compassion, to step out through fear and faith to love our friends. People that maybe have never had an evangelistic conversation in their lives, but have a lot of care and love for their friends. I want you to think about a student like that. There's one student in particular named Jack who was at IIT. This young student, I actually ended up leading to the Lord when I was doing a follow-up appointment after NSO last year. And this young guy gave his life to Jesus. But one thing that I recognized about him was that he was very shy. He's you may call him socially awkward, very timid. And he didn't feel like, honestly, having a conversation with him was very hard. He couldn't hold a very simple conversation about anything normal, let alone anything spiritual. So he was always intimidated about sharing his faith with his friends. Because of the Invite To campaign last year, this young man came out of his shell. This young man began to post prayer requests on the Facebook site and ask me individually about how can I share with my Hindu roommate who I want to know who Jesus is, but I just don't know how to have a conversation with him. And so I began to give him some tidbits, but something happened in his heart where he went after it wholeheartedly. He fumbled through it, he stumbled through it, wasn't charismatic and beautiful at it, but he did it. He cared about his friend and had conversations with him about Jesus. That's the vision of the Invite To campaign. Though Finding God will be flooded with non-Christians, my heart and my vision is to help you as staff have something very simple to take in your hands to be able to help students just like Jack take small steps of faith in evangelistic conversations. So the purpose of the Invite To campaign is to identify potentially missional Christians and to help them become missional Christians by taking small steps in evangelism just like Jack did. One of the temptations that we can face in this is we can see this as something extra to add onto our plates, instead of something that fits right into what's already happening in recruiting for Winterfest, making disciples of your students and turning them into leaders, and also reaching out to non-Christians all at the same time. The Invite To campaign, the temptation that we have is to take our missional Christians and try to turn them into missional leaders too quickly. When in actuality, if you actually kept the ball in your court and kept the ball in your hands, so to speak, the way I did with Jack, in developing him, molding him into a person that can be consistent about sharing his faith with people, I believe that the quality of missional Christian that's developed from a PMC will be so much greater. So the temptation, again, I want to have you all avoid, hopefully, is to turn this over to a student to lead too quickly. The joy, the faith, the encouragement that flooded my own heart as I walked with Jack and many other students last year in doing this was amazing. And I hope that you yourselves as staff would participate in that and experience that same joy and encouragement as well. But also, as you develop your own missional Christians, I believe that something can happen like happened in Sophie. This young lady was developed by her staff in the Invite To campaign, I believe. And I believe that because of this, what I'm about to read to in her own comment that she wrote was something so beautiful that happened. This is what she wrote. I just read the little booklet with my roommate. Even though she said earlier that she lost a tug on her heart to find out more about Christianity and will not come to Winterfest, we had a good conversation that lasted almost an hour. Almost an hour. We talked about love, redemption, and sin, and it made me so happy to see that she was still willing to listen to me and share with me. Please keep her in your prayers. when I read a comment like that, I'm thinking like, wow, that's the vision. This staff were going to walk with Sophie, molded Sophie to become a missional Christian. And Sophie, though her roommate didn't come to Winterfest, they had an hour-long conversation and continues to have dialogue. As I look at that comment that was posted on the Facebook group, my heart gets excited. So what we have in place for you to be able to help you go forward are a couple of tools. Again, all this is coming from your comments and suggestions to make this better. So here's some of what we have to go for this year. The weeks of January 21st to February 8th will be our divisional Invite To campaign weeks. Leading up to these weeks and during these weeks, you all will be praying for your friends on campus. You will be holding your students accountable to reaching out to them, having spiritual conversations, and eventually inviting them to encounter and to finding God. Some of the things to help you, as I made four videos to help you with that. One is a video casting vision. And the next two videos are videos that we found out were the missing link and the intermediate step that needed to be taken so that sharing the gospel booklet based on a true story didn't feel as weird and as cold. That was one of the big comments that kept coming up, was the booklet felt awkward. The reason the booklet felt awkward is we discovered there needed to be an intermediate step of a spiritual conversation. That spiritual conversation would have then acted as a reference point as to a reason that the person could give them the booklet. So what I've done is I've created two videos, one on how to start a spiritual conversation, and a second one on how to share your transformation story with your friend, so that by the end of that spiritual conversation, you can then hand them the booklet and say, hey, it was cool to talk with you about this. If you have more questions or want to know more, read this little booklet, and maybe in a couple of days we can talk about it together, and then invite them to Winterfest after that. So those are the next two videos that I've created. The fourth video that I've created is how to share the bridge diagram, as many of them want to do that in the Invite To campaign. And even last year, 5 students received Christ before Winterfest and before Greek Conference even happened. So those are some of the tools that I've created that are going to be in your hands. And along with that is the whole Invite To campaign kit. In that kit will be more flyers, the actual PDF that you can make more flyers if you run out. In that is are the instructions for the Invite To campaign, so you'll have that along with this video. The PowerPoint is included in that as well. But then there's one thing in particular that's in it that I want to draw to your attention, called the Invite To follow-up sheet. The Invite To follow-up sheet is one of the things that's needed for success, which is simply accountability. In order for this, the schools over the years that have done very well at the Invite To campaign, that have affected their chapter and have brought in a lot of non-Christian students to Winterfest at least, followed up very well. They did really good accountability. So on this sheet are all the students. You can write down their names, the ones that are participating, who they're reaching out to, when they're going to reach out to those students, the specific date, if they actually did it, and if scholarship is needed. All this is on a simple sheet so you can keep track of it and help you go forward. Accountability is one of the first ingredients for success in this whole thing. The second ingredient for success in the Invite To campaign, because encounter and finding God is not the end result and the end goal. The end goal is them becoming followers of Jesus. What you will need is a follow-up strategy for those that don't become followers of Jesus at Encounter or Finding God. And the follow-up strategy that I've been encouraging has been gigs. One of the calls of commitment at Encounter and at Finding God is for those that don't make a decision to follow Christ to commit to exploring Christ more further. So gigs, having gigs prepared to go. And because the Luke gigs have been put out by Urbana, I encourage you to use those and any other things you can get your hands on. To encourage you all as staff and your students to keep momentum building and going forward, I have two things. Number one is the Invite To page, which is the Facebook page. The website for that is www.invite2.info. On that page, and what I'll be doing also is sending out reminders and encouragements to you and to your students about, hey, it's time to pray for your friends. Now that you've prayed, here's another video saying, hey, it's time to reach out to your friends and have that spiritual conversation. Now that you have that spiritual conversation, it's now time to invite them to Winterfest and to Greek Conference. I will also be including video testimonies of students who are stepping out and have stepped out to take steps of love and faith towards their friends. So this is the overall vision and encouragement that I want to give to you for the Invite To campaign. Thank you for all of you area directors and you CSMs who put input into how to make this better. I hope this is clear. And in any ways that it's not clear or any ideas you want to bounce off of me, please feel free to give me a call and we can talk about it together. So, man, last year 70 students received Christ between the two conferences. We went from 20 students to 85 students in Finding God over a 2-year period. Man, God is doing amazing things. He's breathing a lot of grace on us by His Spirit. I wonder what it would look like to see, 120 students in Finding God this year. Having, 150 conversions or so over this year between Greek Conference and Winterfest. That would be so amazing. And God can do that through you, and He wants to do that through you. So I just encourage you and bless you all as staff. Go forward in the grace and the power of Jesus Christ, and go forward in the love of the Holy Spirit and the wisdom of the Holy Spirit as you develop your friends, our students, into disciples. I love you all. Bless you.